Genesis 5, chapter 5, verse 1. This is the book of the lineage of Adam. In the day that God created man, he made him to the likeness of God. Chapter 5, verse 2. He created them, male and female, and he blessed them. And he called their name Adam, in the day when they were created. Chapter 5, verse 3. Then Adam lived for 130 years. And then he conceived a son in his own image and likeness, and he called his name Seth. Chapter 5, verse 4. And after he conceived Seth, the days of Adam that passed were 800 years. And he conceived sons and daughters. Chapter 5, verse 5. And all the time that passed while Adam lived was 930 years, and then he died. Chapter 5, verse 6. Seth likewise lived for 105 years, and then he conceived Enos. Chapter 5, verse 7. And after he conceived Enos, Seth lived for 807 years, and he conceived sons and daughters. Chapter 5, verse 8. And all the days of Seth that passed were 912 years, and then he died. Chapter 5, verse 9. In truth, Enos lived 90 years, and then he conceived Canaan. Chapter 5, verse 10. After his birth, he lived 815 years, and he conceived sons and daughters. Chapter 5, verse 11. And all the days of Enos that passed were 905 years, and then he died. Chapter 5, verse 12. Likewise, Canaan lived 70 years, and then he conceived Mahalalel. Chapter 5, verse 13. And after he conceived Mahalalel, Canaan lived for 840 years, and he conceived sons and daughters. Chapter 5, verse 14. And all the days of Canaan that passed were 910 years, and then he died. Chapter 5, verse 15. And Mahalalel lived 65 years, and then he conceived Jared. Chapter 5, verse 16. And after he conceived Jared, Mahalalel lived for 830 years, and he conceived sons and daughters. Chapter 5, verse 17. And all the days of Mahalalel that passed were 895 years, and then he died. Chapter 5, verse 18. And Jared lived for 162 years, and then he conceived Enoch. Chapter 5, verse 19. And after he conceived Enoch, Jared lived for 800 years, and he conceived sons and daughters. Chapter 5, verse 20. And all the days of Jared that passed were 962 years, and then he died. Chapter 5, verse 21. Now Enoch lived for 65 years, and then he conceived Methuselah. Chapter 5, verse 22. And Enoch walked with God. And after he conceived Methuselah, he lived for 300 years, and he conceived sons and daughters. Chapter 5, verse 23. And all the days of Enoch that passed were 365 years. Chapter 5, verse 24. And he walked with God, and then he was seen no more, because God took him. Chapter 5, verse 25. Likewise, Methuselah lived for 187 years, and then he conceived Lamech. Chapter 5, verse 26. And after he conceived Lamech, Methuselah lived for 782 years, and he conceived sons and daughters. Chapter 5, verse 27. And all the days of Methuselah that passed were 969 years, and then he died. Chapter 5, verse 28. Then Lamech lived for 182 years, and he conceived a son. Chapter 5, verse 29. And he called his name Noah, saying, This one will console us from the works and hardships of our hands, in the land that the Lord has cursed. Chapter 5, verse 30. And after he conceived Noah, Lamech lived for 595 years, and he conceived sons and daughters. Chapter 5, verse 31. And all the days of Lamech that passed were 777 years, and then he died. In truth, when Noah was 500 years old, he conceived Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Genesis 6, chapter 6, verse 1. And when men began to be multiplied upon the earth, and daughters were born to them. Chapter 6, verse 2. The sons of God, seeing that the daughters of men were beautiful, took to themselves wives from all whom they chose. Chapter 6, verse 3. And God said, My spirit shall not remain in man forever, because he is flesh, and so his days shall be 120 years. Chapter 6, verse 4. Now giants were upon the earth in those days, for after the sons of God went in to the daughters of men, and they conceived, these became the powerful ones of ancient times, men of renown. Chapter 6, verse 5. Then God, seeing that the wickedness of men was great upon the earth, and that every thought of their heart was intent upon evil at all times. Chapter 6, verse 6 repented that he had made man on the earth, and being touched inwardly with a sorrow of heart. Chapter 6, verse 7, he said, I will eliminate man, whom I have created, from the face of the earth, from man to other living things, from animals even to the flying things of the air, for it grieves me that I have made them. Chapter 6, verse 8, Yet truly Noah found grace before the Lord. Chapter 6, verse 9, These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man, and yet he was predominant among his generations, for he walked with God. Chapter 6, verse 10, And he conceived 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Chapter 6, verse 11, Yet the earth was corrupted before the eyes of God, and it was filled with iniquity. Chapter 6, verse 12, And when God had seen that the earth had been corrupted, indeed, all flesh had corrupted its way upon the earth. Chapter 6, verse 13, he said to Noah, The end of all flesh has arrived in my sight. The earth has been filled with iniquity by their presence, and I will destroy them, along with the earth. Chapter 6, verse 14, Make yourself an ark from smoothed wood. You shall make little dwelling places in the ark, and you shall smear pitch on the interior and exterior. Chapter 6, verse 15, And thus shall you make it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, its width 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. Chapter 6, verse 16, You shall make a window in the ark, and you shall complete it within a cubit of the top. Then you shall set the door of the ark at its side. You shall make in it a lower part, upper rooms, and a third level. Chapter 6, verse 17, Behold, I shall bring the waters of a great flood upon the earth, so as to put to death all flesh, in which there is the breath of life under heaven. All things that are on the earth shall be consumed. Chapter 6, verse 18, And I shall establish my covenant with you, and you shall enter the ark, you and your sons, your wife, and the wives of your sons with you. Chapter 6, verse 19, And from every living thing of all that is flesh, you shall lead pairs into the ark, so that they may survive with you from the male sex and the female. Chapter 6, verse 20, From birds, according to their kind, and from beasts in their kind, and from among all animals on earth, according to their kind pairs from each, shall enter with you, so that they may be able to live. Chapter 6, verse 21. Therefore you shall take with you from all the foods that are able to be eaten, and you shall carry these with you. And these shall be used as food, some for you and the rest for them. Chapter 6, verse 22. And so Noah did all things just as God had instructed him.